Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Morning Wood here on the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment channel with of course a little bit of bite down boxing mixed in. Hey, if I don't say anything, if I don't discuss anything and shed light on anything, man, I really hope that people checked out the Ava Duvernay 4-part series over on Netflix. When They See Us, just I think it was written by her, directed by her, or partially written, but just a phenomenal project. It delves into, I think the hashtag was the Exonerated Five, also formerly known as the Central Park Five, with the kids, the five teenagers from New York, who back in 1989, April of 1989, were blamed or accused of raping the jogger, the Central Park jogger, and just a whole lot of atrocities occurred in terms of what's new, the U.S. judicial system, and it just spiraled out of control. And I think we should be talking about it. I think that would be my hope. That I could have and I did a video when I did a reaction video to it, but I didn't realize I tried to call to light or call out the Combat Jack podcast that had one of the guys, I believe it was Corey Wise, on several years ago. Rest in peace to Combat Jack, Reggie Osei. But that episode is out there on SoundCloud, and I think when I opened it on SoundCloud, the audio from that automatically started playing, and it leaked into what I was recording because I had it all open on my computer. I didn't hear it because I didn't have my headset on, and I think that's playing underneath what I'm talking about. So I'm a stickler about the quality of my audio, the quality of my presentation in general. So I really want to take it down, but 90-something views on there already. And some people were staying on for a bit of time to begin, so I hate to take it down now. So I might do another video and maybe have 3 to 5 different talking points and to go back into that. But hopefully you had a chance to check that out on Netflix. When They See Us, I'd love to hear some feedback, some interaction, some thoughts on. The one beautiful thing about it, man, was to get all the facts in there and the harsh realities and to illustrate all of that, and then to keep it cinematic in a lot of different ways, and put the touch of a big time director being involved with it. To bring both things together is just phenomenal. Also on Netflix is season 2 of She's Gotta Have It. I'm gonna be honest, I'm slow walking that one through the first 2 episodes, but trying to support Spike Lee, although he can be a jerk on social media sometimes. But anyway, let's get to it, man. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors, even in that series up at 1-1, winning a game on the road, lost another man to an injury in Klay Thompson. The team chemistry there is just phenomenal. Right now, the focus, the defense, the attention to detail, running the show, being a coach on the floor, playing extended minutes at point forward. I got to tip my cap to Draymond Green. And then just, man, they kill you with teams with scoring two-point buckets, man. Late in the game, you got to respect the 3-point line so much that it opens up the lane, and they're scoring buckets inside the paint that shouldn't be happening. And then also, well, I won't go into that. Shout out to them, man. We'll see what happens in terms of Kevin Durant possibly making it back for Game 3. And then Boogie Cousins looks like he's nowhere near game shape. So I really struggle with the fact that he was shooting wide open three-pointers late in the fourth quarter, not having his legs about him. Looked like he's out there laboring just a little bit. But he took a couple of shots when they went into a lull in scoring. And whereas Draymond is passing up a good shot for a better shot or getting an assist. I just really hated that Cousins took those long shots. Ill-advised, very ill-advised. Hey, but look, let's get to it, man. Obviously, in the sports world, at least for my sports world, a huge upset, a huge development this weekend in boxing. Imperial California heavyweight, Mexican heavyweight, Andy the Destroyer Ruiz. He of the plus 6 pounds from his last fight, and all the body shaming that's taking place, etc., etc., etc. This man went in there and stopped unified champion Anthony Joshua in 7 rounds over at Madison Square Garden, and really just upset the apple cart. All the money that was being discussed and floated out there for for fights featuring the big 3, that being Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua. All of that is no more. With the mentioning and Deontay Wilder confirming the deal between him and Tyson Fury for their rematch, we still don't have any additional information on that and what could be the purses in that one. But for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, the big money is probably cut in half, and they have to start over. But this does make the Ortiz fight and the Fury fight a little bit more. But let's get into it, man. I did a little article out there on BiteDownBoxing.com. I don't want to slight Andy Ruiz's accomplishment in any way. I'm still, like I said in my live stream after the fight, I'm still kind of struggling to understand what happened. Some different reports out there if you want to get into some of the conspiracy stuff about an injury before leading into the fight for Joshua. People saying he was acting weird before the fight. The way that they did I don't know. It's all kind of stuff out there. Buy into whatever you want to buy into. He was doing fine through the first 3 rounds, 2.5 rounds. And so his deliberate style, worked well for him. He got the knockdown in the 3rd round with a short left hook inside that put Ruiz down for the first time in his career. And the only thing that I really subscribe to is the fact that I think that Joshua was looking for a big finish. He completely gave up his height, went inside the finish, and got caught up alongside it was a left hook from a short left hook inside that he didn't see, that caught him on his right temple in that area. And he reacted to it badly and was hurt. And that was the first knockdown. So in the 3rd round, we had 2 knockdowns. And then Andy Ruiz pressed the action and got a second one before the end of the round. The one thing to note is that Ruiz got up after being knocked down the first time in his career. And then also he took a very strong straight right hand from Joshua. He withstood that while he was still recovering, and then went to work. And Joshua's his next 6 or 7 minutes of fight time, 6, 7, or 8 minutes of fight time is kind of interesting, and it kind of is reminiscent of the Cotto shot that rocked Sergio Martinez, where he was out of sorts for several rounds. And so Ruiz was patient. Joshua was buying a little bit of time the next couple of rounds, and then in the end of the 6th round, Ruiz got tired of he thought it was time to close in. He was dealing with a guy that definitely didn't have the same fight that he had earlier, so he felt it was safe to move inside. He proceeded to bust Joshua up a little bit. I think he landed that right to the body towards the end of that 6th round that really, I thought, stuck with Joshua and really extinguished, most of the flame that was trying to build back in him. And then in the seventh round, he destroyed him, living up to his name, and hell of an accomplishment. Nothing to me too controversial on the stoppage from referee Michael Griffin. The guy didn't give him the clear indication that he wanted to continue, and I think he stopped it long enough anyway, because he would have had to deal with the mouthpiece situation. I don't even know if he had picked up I don't remember if he picked up the mouthpiece at that point, but you took extra time in the corner trying to see what was going on with him, whether he wanted to continue. Then if you would have had to turn around and get the mouthpiece together, get it over to the corner, it really wouldn't have been fair to Andy Ruiz. So I think in stopping the fight, there was nothing to discuss. The last thing that I'll say on it is I don't think that I had my man Lazy Lefty on from Twitter, at Lazy Lefty on Twitter. I had him on the live stream. He called in and chopped it up with me for an extended amount of time, just getting some of his takes in. I didn't agree with everything he said, as he probably doesn't everything that I said. But the one thing that I looking forward to a rematch, and I know there's different things out there, different stories. Now that Al Heyman and the PBC control all of the belts, I even saw something that the Ortiz fight could be revisited and postponed, and the Undisputed fight, a path could be cleared for that to happen. Whatever. But I think if the rematch was to happen, I'm not going to sit here and say that Joshua couldn't compete with Ruiz in the rematch. You don't get that knockdown, in 3 rounds, and now you can't fight anymore. Despite the fact that he relies on that 1-2 approach into the pocket way too much and almost exclusively, and it's to his detriment, in my opinion, as Ruiz had picked up on that and was timing that as early as the second round. Not going to be able to do that against elite heavyweights. I'm still on my smoothie thing, by the way. I'm trying to do 2 a day and dinner. Eat a regular dinner. But anyway, to get the knockdown there in the third round, it doesn't mean that it's a wrap for Anthony Joshua. He can never fight again. That's just not the case. How can we judge him on, and this is kind of what Lefty was doing, I'm not going to judge him in a fresh 12 rounds, a fresh fight, off of his worst portion of this fight, his worst performance in his career. In a situation where I think he was significantly impaired for multiple rounds. So, no, I don't know. And I don't even think he really needs to get rid of McCracken necessarily to have the rematch. He mentioned something, Joshua mentioned something about, I don't change up everything. I don't change his family, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he necessarily needs to get rid of him to beat Ruiz. But I think he does need to look at quite a bit of stuff moving forward. And McCracken might not be the guy long term. But if they kept everything intact and fought again in 5 or 6 months, I think he could be successful, especially if it's in the UK. Whereas Ruiz exhibited a lot of patience in finishing him out, knowing what, the opportunity to become the first heavyweight champion of Mexican descent, or the first Mexican, however you want to look at it. When he exhibited all of that patience, Anthony Joshua threw it out the window. So I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't compete with Andy Ruiz all of a sudden. He still just needs to fight like a good big man and be a good big man. He gave all of that up. So, and last thing, I thought I didn't understand what I was watching over the course of the fight. I didn't understand all of the or Joshua be there's class, and then there's being overly magnanimous that I didn't understand. And maybe he was concussed. It was a very weird fight to me. He's lingering around standing between Mannix and Team Ruiz, and I don't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't know what was going on, and that's why it looked like that on the screen. But anyway, man, I don't think it's over for the guy. I would, for some of the people to jump out there and suggest that he's made too much money to really care anymore, I don't think he's that simple of a guy. I'm hoping that he's not. Not because I like him, but that's not the impression that I got from the type of person he is. And I think in general in boxing, how many guys? The only guy that I know that ever lost and just completely walked away and kept his word was Marvelous Hagler. Other than that, most guys come back and we see him again after an ugly situation. Hopefully, we just don't see him again, and whatever some people want to run with, that the loss hints about him and his character and his character as a fighter. If that is the true Joshua, then that would be amazing. But we've seen the guy beat. That means all these other guys were just, what was that? What was that? If this was all that it took. So I can't say. I just think it was a very bad night for the guy. Notice that I'm not saying anything regarding Deontay Wilder in what I'm saying about Joshua. I'm not doing that tit for tat thing that's so popular in sports. This is all about AJ. But I just don't think that's the last that we see of him. Now, is that the last that we see of him on a high note? I guess he could come back and not have confidence and get thrashed. But the jury's still out for me. But look, man, let me get on off of here. Let me get on out of here and get to the gig. Have a great day. You don't have to start to be great. Damn, I'm messing that up. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. See, we all have an off day. Peace.